Okay, the WWE Network doesn't really exist anymore in the United States. You got Raw and Raw-adjacent programming on Netflix. Peacock kind of has the rest of it, and the premium live events are now moving to ESPN next year? Ugh, what I wouldn't give for the $9.99 days. And what's worse is that not only is the library scattered all over, some things have been deleted and will probably never be seen again. I'm Senor Siete for 7 Wrestling. Let's take a look at 7 moments banned from the WWE Network. Now, before we get into this, we appreciate your support, so if you enjoy this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and clothesline that notification bell. Also, we've got merch. Show the world that you're a part of the brotherhood, even if you're a sister, with some of our snazzy apparel, stickers, and other business. Number 1, what a man. WrestleMania 11 is kind of a dud, but it's remembered for a few things. Lawrence Taylor actually putting on a shockingly watchable main event, Shawn Michaels bumping around like a friggin' pinball, and Bob Backlund losing an I Quit match by screaming incoherently. But one of the purest joys of that card came not in the ring, but from the entrance ramp, courtesy of Salt and Peppa. The Queens of Hip Hop were live, mics in hand, belting out What a Man for LT's entrance like it was the world's coolest halftime show. And Salt and Peppa wasn't just phoning it in. They were charismatic, energetic, and made a celebrity cameo feel like an event instead of an awkward contractual obligation. They even wrote original lyrics for the show. Beast from the East, run for the border, bam bam, you better get ready for the slaughter. Oh, friggin' poetry. But if you pull up WrestleMania 11 on the WWE Network on Peacock now, poof, gone. It's like it never happened. Most likely culprit, music rights, the same copyright iceberg that sunk countless Attitude Era theme songs. Apparently, the licensing fee for What a Man was a little too rich for WWE's billion-dollar company blood, so they just snipped it. The trio's just kind of weirdly out there getting into a fight with Bam Bam Bigelow, which is a shame, because Salt and Peppa were celebs that really got into the moment and seemed to be enjoying themselves. Give me that over celebs who look bored or disinterested any day of the week. Ah well, at least we still have this weird shot of them putting the moves on Bret Hart. Number 2, Crippler clipped. The November 23rd, 2000 episode of SmackDown is a pretty stacked show on the WWE Network, but there's one segment from the original broadcast that's been quietly erased, and it's not because of music rights or copyright gremlins. No, this one vanished because it plays really differently in hindsight. In the live airing, we'd find Chris Benoit chatting with Eddie Guerrero, who's sulking over losing the Intercontinental title. Eddie's doing the whole I don't want to talk about it bit when Lillian Garcia strolls in looking for an interview, which seems harmless enough, except Benoit immediately snaps, gets right in her face, and starts accusing her of trying to rub in Eddie's loss. Then he pivots into a rant about his own loss to Steve Austin on Raw, basically accusing Lillian of thinking Austin is the better man, promising that tonight Austin's going to learn exactly what Wrestle Ed 101 is. It's intense, uncomfortable, and the kind of thing that at the time just read as Benoit's a scary, intense wrestler. But watching it now, knowing what we know about Benoit, and factoring in that it's him aggressively intimidating a female announcer, the optics are not great. On the network Peacock version, it's completely gone, like it never happened. No awkward confrontation, no Wrestle Ed 101 threat, no nothing. Number 3, Jugga No. SummerSlam 1998 was one of the WWE's most attitude-era shows ever. Brazen, loud, chaotic, and occasionally baffling, and few things capture that energy better than the Oddities, making their entrance to the dulcet tones of the Insane Clown Posse. Yes, before Juggalo was a term that suburban parents Googled in horror, ICP was lending their unique brand of carnival rap to a stable that featured a Cartman-loving masked freak, a dancing giant, and a cartoonish Luna Vachon. The song, objectively ridiculous, lyrically nonsensical, performed with the subtlety of a monster truck rally inside of a Hot Topic, and yet, kind of slapped. The beat was bouncy, the hook was infectious, and for about 2 minutes, it made you believe that a stable consisting of Kurgan and Golga was the hottest act in wrestling. But if you fire up SummerSlam 98 on the WWE Network or Peacock today, that whole entrance is gone. Just a hard cut to Kayentai's entrance, like the Oddities somehow teleported to the ring. The likely culprit, well, music licensing again. Apparently whatever deal Vince had with the ICP in the late 90s didn't include streaming rights forever, so the track was yeeted from history. Some fans will tell you this is an improvement, sparing new viewers from hearing ICP rap about cartoon freaks, but honestly, I miss it. It was pure, unfiltered, attitude-era absurdity, kind of thing you can't explain to non-wrestling fans without them questioning your life choices. Number 4, Star Mangled Banner. If you caught WrestleMania 14 when it aired live, you know the show opens with a unique mashup of the Star Spangled Banner and America the Beautiful by DX Band frontman Chris Warren. Now, if you've only ever seen the WWE Network or Peacock versions, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's not because of music rights. Francis Scott Key isn't collecting any royalties. No. It was cut because it was that bad. Like, so bad. Now, Chris Warren isn't a bad singer in the traditional sense. The guy could shout D-Generation X into oblivion with the best of them, but at Mania 14, tasked with performing this patriotic medley in front of a sold-out Boston crowd, he decided to go full 90s grunge frontman, turning it into a distorted, pitch-warped, aggressively off-key jam session. Imagine Eddie Vedder doing karaoke after 3 Red Bulls and a head cold. By the first "Oh Say Can You See," you could actually hear the crowd start booing. By the end, they weren't just booing, they were heckling like Well Done had showed up at the ECW arena. WWE has quietly erased it from the official version, so now WrestleMania 14 jumps straight into the hype video like nothing ever happened. They decided that this one was left better in the vault, and honestly, that's fair. We don't like when things get edited out of these shows, yeah, but this is one of those rare cases where WWE's revisionist history is actually doing the audience a favor. Sometimes the best way to honor America is to pretend that never happened. Number 5, Globe Robe Trotter. When WWE Storytime first aired, the premise was pretty simple. Wrestlers gather around a metaphorical campfire and share wacky road stories from the wild days of wrestling. Rental car disasters, wacky snake antics, the 1-2-3 Kid being a human after-school special. Remember the time you almost died? The classic Boys Will Be Boys scrapbook, and one particular episode, though, featured Ric Flair gleefully recounting his alleged in-flight hijinks with a group of stewardesses, told in the same, "Oh, that crazy nature boy" tone that WWE had been leaning into for decades. It was meant to play like a charming, slightly naughty grandpa story, Flair strutting down the aisle of a plane, naked underneath his trademark robe, flirting, showing off, and generally being Ric Flair. Animators leaned into it, big cartoon grins, playful music as if they were watching Bugs Bunny hit on Elmer Fudd's wife. And to hear the Nature Boy tell it, those stewardesses could not wait for him to show off his randy side. They simply couldn't get enough of it. Problem, this story was uncomfortably close to the real-life allegations later revisited in Dark Side of the Ring's infamous Plane Ride from Hell episode. The one where the WWE had to settle out of court for the horrific things Flair did to non-consenting stewardesses. Robe and all. After that documentary aired in 2021 and mainstream outlets picked up on the details, the WWE suddenly realized that maybe broadcasting an animated reenactment of Flair's midair antics wasn't the best look, so the episode entitled Traveler's Tales Part 1 quietly vanished from the network and from Peacock. Now, oddly enough, Traveler's Tales Part 2 is still available, which tells some really gross Mick Foley stories that I'm sure he wouldn't mind if they were deleted too. Number 6, The Damage is Done. The August 24th, 2000 episode of SmackDown is remembered for one thing: Kurt Angle, the Olympic hero himself, locking lips with Stephanie McMahon, its Attitude-era soap opera at its finest. But what most fans don't remember, or more accurately what they aren't allowed to remember, is that this episode originally contained another gem. The APA headed to a karaoke bar only to find Kai and Ty belting out Bon Jovi's You Give Love a Bad Name. That's right, Bradshaw and Farouk, the guys who usually solve problems with beer money and bar fights, spent part of the night listening to Taka Michinoku and Funaki absolutely murdering an 80s rock classic in glorious, unlicensed fashion. On the original broadcast, it was one of those perfectly stupid Attitude Era palate cleansers, the kind of segment that had zero impact on storylines, but made you glad you stayed up late. Unfortunately, when the episode made its way to the WWE Network and Peacock, the karaoke scene was gone. No shot through the heart, no APA side-eyeing each other, no accidental reminder that Kai and Tai was comedy gold. The likely reason, music licensing rearing its ugly head once again. Apparently paying John Bon Jovi's lawyers wasn't in the cards, which is a shame. Now all that's left is the memory of what might be the only time in wrestling history that both Kai and Tai and Bon Jovi got over in the same segment. Number 7, check the tape. WrestleMania 7 is remembered for a wide variety of reasons. You've got the Macho Man Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior and the tear-jerking finale to their career-ending match. You got Hulk Hogan bleeding patriotism all over the turncoat Sergeant Slaughter. You've even got Jake the Snake Roberts blowing the illusion that he couldn't see through his hood at the very beginning of the blindfold match. What nobody remembers, or probably misses, is the instant replay debate segment, because WWE has wisely cut it from the network and Peacock like a wart they didn't want anyone to notice. The concept, in theory, was topical, I guess. Sports fans at the time were arguing about whether instant replay should be used in officiating, so WWE, never one to pass up an excuse for forced celebrity banter, brought out Yankees owner George Steinbrenner and Paul McGuire to debate the merits. What followed was several minutes of tepid sports talk, bad jokes, and comedic tension that felt about as spontaneous as a primetime wrestling cold open. Like, imagine a lukewarm Pardon the Interruption segment except with worse hair and way more scripting. And after all that build-up, the big payoff was the Bushwhackers were wacky referees who can't figure out how to make the tape machine work. That's it. Segment over. No advancing storylines, no memorable laughs, just a slow, awkward setup for a joke that wouldn't even make the cut on Saturday Night Live's worst post-update sketch. This was not a lost gem, it was filler. We don't love when they trim these things like we said, but honestly, losing this stud is not breaking our heart. Well, there's our list, and I leave out any other moments that were banned from the WWE Network and Peacock. If so, please leave them in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, do us a solid, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and Kona crush that notification bell. Until next time, I'm Senor Siete for 7 Wrestling saying bye-bye.